Are you thinking of getting a PPV? Perhaps your top options are the Nissan Terra and the Fortuner. Well then, this video is for you. In this video, we'll do a little head-to-head between the Nissan Terra VL 4x4 and the Fortuner GRS. We'll compare them in different categories. For each category, I'll give each of them a score, and then we'll add up all the scores and choose our overall winner. Let's start with the most subjective of these categories: exterior styling. The Nissan Terra goes for a more traditional SUV look with bulging fenders, a short front overhang, and more squared off proportions. While the Fortuner GRS goes for a more sporty look with its more streamlined profile, its body kit, and its long and pointy nose. Of course, looks are subjective, and feel free to disagree with me on this. But I prefer my PPVs to look more rugged than streamlined, so I'd give a slight edge to the Nissan Terra on this one. Not by much though. The Fortuner GRS gets an 8.9 out of 10, while the Nissan Terra gets a 9 out of 10. One of the major improvements to the Nissan Terra when it was facelifted is the interior. It now comes in this burgundy and black color scheme. The dashboard has been resculpted and has soft touch materials all over. The knobs feel high quality. It gets quilted leather seats, which are very comfortable. They're power adjustable, and they also get adjustable lumbar support. Its 9-inch screen is second only to the Ford Everest in terms of quality. Overall, it's a premium and modern-looking interior. Now, unlike the Terra, where everything looks well integrated, the interior of the Fortuner looks more modular. By that, I mean, not everything looks like it was designed to be there specifically for the Fortuner. Like the infotainment screen looks aftermarket, the climate control looks like a 2-din head unit. It reminds me of those 90s cars with those rectangular openings where you can put a 1-din radio, a CD changer, or air conditioning, and you can swap them around if you want to. Now that would make sense if the Fortuner was going for a retro look, but it's not. And aesthetics aside, the dashboard of the Fortuner is also a little too high, which hampers visibility a little bit. So I'll give the Toyota Fortuner a 6 out of 10, and I'll give the Nissan Terra a 9 out of 10. The Nissan Terra takes this category. Okay, next category is tech. While the Terra has a 360 camera, autonomous emergency braking, and blind spot warning, it is the only SUV in this class that doesn't come with adaptive cruise control. A feature that I would expect and look for in a car at this price bracket. It is also the only one that doesn't come with a power liftgate. Toyota, on the other hand, crammed a lot of features into the Fortuner. Like the Terra, it also has a 360 camera, autonomous emergency braking, and blind spot warning. But it also has additional features such as adaptive cruise control, wireless phone charging, and a power liftgate. So this one goes to the Toyota Fortuner. Next category is refinement. Now, refinement would cover stuff like noise insulation and vibration levels. Next to the Ford Everest, the Nissan Terra is the next most refined SUV in this class. It has acoustic glass, which helps a lot in improving noise insulation. On the other hand, quite a bit of noise enters the cabin of the Fortuner, especially noise coming from the engine. It is quite audible at idle, but even more so at 2000 RPM and higher. Driving the Fortuner, you do get a lot more engine drone compared to the Terra. So I'll give this one to the Nissan Terra. Next category is ride quality. Now, if there's one thing that the Fortuner is known for, it is for being matagtag. It's a reputation that's well-deserved, as the suspension of the Fortuner is very stiff. The Fortuner GRS has a slightly more forgiving suspension than the other variants, but it's still nowhere near as plush as the Nissan Terra. The Nissan Terra floats like a boat on road imperfections, which is mostly a good thing when you're driving on straight roads. On twistier roads though, it's another matter, and we're gonna talk about that in our next category. But this category definitely goes to the Nissan Terra. Next category is handling. The suspension of the Terra is soft, which is good for absorbing road imperfections, but the downside is that it sways a lot more when you're cornering. And when you're on twisty roads, it can induce a bit of nausea. The front end of the Terra dips quite a bit during hard cornering or during hard braking. The Fortuner GRS, on the other hand, feels surprisingly planted for a PPV. Even on hard cornering, the front end doesn't dip. Next category is third row space. Now, everyone can fit in the first and second row seats of all PPVs, except probably for those who are bordering on 7 feet tall. But even average-sized adults will have a problem fitting in the third row seats of most PPVs. So we'll give this one a separate category. The Terra and the Fortuner are not the best in the segment when it comes to third row space. That distinction belongs to the Isuzu MU-X. But between the Terra and the Fortuner, the Terra is better. The flooring is quite high, but I have a bit more headroom on the Terra. On the Fortuner, my head brushes against the roof. Next category is cargo space. The loading floor of the Terra is a bit high, but overall it's pretty decent for its class. Everything folds flat to the floor. The second row seats even tumble forward if you need more vertical space. With all the seats folded, you can fit a mountain bike inside without disassembling it. Now, the same cannot be said of the Fortuner, which has the worst cargo space in its class. The third row seats of the Fortuner don't fold flat to the floor, unlike all of its competitors. They fold to the side, which severely limits cargo space. You can get more cargo space from compact crossovers than the Fortuner. That's how bad it is. So this category definitely goes to the Nissan Terra. Next category is the powertrain, which includes the engine and the transmission. Now, all variants of the Terra come with the same 2.5-liter engine, which puts out a respectable 190 horsepower and 450 Nm of torque. Now, those numbers are not bad, and the vehicle feels quite responsive when you give it a bit of gas. The Fortuner comes with a bigger 2.8-liter engine, which has the second highest output in this class. It produces 200 horsepower and 500 Nm of torque. Now, that's a noticeable but not that significant margin. So the Fortuner also scores noticeably but not significantly higher. And the last category is the price. The Nissan Terra VL 4x4 sells for 2,399,000 pesos. The Terra Sport 4x4, which is basically a VL 4x4 with blacked out accents, sells for 2,459,000 pesos. Both models sell for a lot less than the Fortuner GRS, or even the next most expensive model, the LTD 4x4. So the Nissan Terra wins this category. So there you go. The main advantages of the Toyota Fortuner are the better handling and the tech. The Fortuner's engine is also a bit more powerful, but not by much. The main advantages of the Terra are the better ride quality, the better noise insulation, the much better looking interior, and the better cargo space. Now, which one is better for you would depend on where your priorities are. If you'd rather have more tech like adaptive cruise control and a power liftgate, then the Fortuner GRS might be for you. If you'd rather have less tagtag and a nicer interior, then you might want to opt for the Nissan Terra.